What's up, YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back, and today we'll be doing our $1,000 Brinks wrapped $half hunt. These came from one of my local Fifth Third that orders coins for me every week. We've been on a bit of a silver skunk in our boxes of late. We've done 8 full boxes, 2 Loomis, 6 Brinks, no silver. These will be boxes 7 and 8 of our Brinks, and boxes 9 and 10 in total. So hopefully we get lucky today and come across a little silver. I'm excited to get into these rolls. I hope you are too. So let's get to it. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our first 5 or 10 rolls here together. You know, our main objective when we coin roll hunt $half is to find those silver ones, and silver $half are going to be 1970 and earlier, with 1965 to 1970 being 40% silver, and our 1964 and earlier, those will be 90% silver. And if we find either of those, we'll be keeping track of those. We'll let you know what the whole value is by the end of the video on what we find, assuming we find any. There's a handful of other coins that we'll be looking for. We'll be looking for San Francisco clad proofs. Those would be S mint marked proofs. And we will also be looking for NIFCs, which stands for not intended for circulation. And those would be for the years 2002 to 2020. It also includes 1970, which is 40% silver, and an NIFC because it was only released in mint sets. And our 1987s. 87s were also only made for collectors. What I'm doing right now is just edge hunting, looking for a little silver just by the edge of the coin, because that is the easiest way to spot it upon opening the roll. So one of the things I did want to cover while I open these rolls is I've gotten a couple of questions lately that I figured I'd go ahead. I've tried to answer them in the comments, but figured since I have you guys here and I have a forum, let's just talk about it out loud. So the first question I want to cover is, I forgot who asked it, so apologies. I did not go back and get the names of the users that asked these questions, but one of them was, is coin roll hunting viable? Now, to me, that question could mean a lot of different things. So let's talk about that for a second. So viable meaning like viable as a full-time job. Well, unless you have some way to make additional revenue from coin roll hunting, like having a YouTube channel or finding some other way to monetize the hobby behind your, other than your finds, I would say the answer is no. You just can't find enough rare coins and enough silver to actually make a living doing this. If you mean viable as in how much longer will this hobby exist? Well, that's a great question too, because I know a lot of people are struggling to find coins. I know banks are starting to carry less and less coinage on a regular basis. And I know there's a lot of banks that won't order coins for anybody anymore either, unless you have a business account. So, you know, this isn't a hobby I think that's going to last forever. I think it's a hobby that, like I said, getting harder and harder to do just because it's getting harder and harder to get coins. And yet, channels like mine and others out there in the community, we are encouraging more and more people to get into the hobby. At the same time, because it is such a slow hobby, because it does take time to get these coins, it takes time to go through them, it takes quite a bit of knowledge to understand what you're looking for. A lot of people will try this a few times. They'll realize that not every box, not every roll comes with silver and, you know, valuable error coins and so on and so forth, that they deem it not worth their time and they move on. I'm going to stop there for a second. We have our first NIFC. We've got a 2005 Philadelphia right here. I'll put the mintage on the screen for you. NIFCs aren't worth a whole lot of money unless you're completing an album. You know, you might be able to sell one for 60 cents or 70 cents, but after your transaction fees and stuff, maybe $1, maybe even $1.50, but still, after your transaction fees, not really worth a whole lot of money. But let me get into roll 10 here. So where was I? I was talking about this just not being, you know, viable and not making enough money doing it. You know, even when you have a big box of silver and it's worth 50 or 75 or $100 in silver or even more, you'd have to do that a couple of times a month to make this a living. So that's why I say, you know, if you have a YouTube channel, if you have some other way to monetize this, theoretically you could make a living on it. I know there are full-time YouTubers out there that are making a living on their coin channels and their silver stacking channels, so it is possible. It's just not something that everyone can do because it takes time and energy to build a channel that gets to the point where it makes that kind of money. Oh, I remember, but the other point I was trying to make was the average person may try this a few times. They may get a box or 2 or 3. They might find a silver or 2 and realize they put in 4 or 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 hours to find $3.50 in silver, right? So those folks that aren't in it for the hobby, they aren't in it for the enjoyment of it. This isn't something that fuels them, or it's something they enjoy doing on a regular basis. They're going to quit, right? You have to be somebody that's very interested in coins, very interested in looking for old things and mint errors, and you know what? Coming across that occasional silver, for this to be something you'll do for a long period of time. So with that, let me go through these coins looking for those mint errors. If I find any, I'll bring you guys in. If we find any more NIFCs, I'll give you a summary after I go through them, and I'll bring you in for the next 10 rolls because I got a few more things that I want to talk about. All right, so I went through those first 10 rolls, didn't find any errors or varieties, but we did come across a 2006 Philly NIFC. So that's 2 so far in the first 10 rolls. So let's go through a few more, and a couple more questions that I wanted to cover that I got recently in the comments. One of them was, are we expected to believe that you are finding 90% silver in $half-dollar rolls today? And this goes along with a lot of this is fake comments that I get. Similar questions are, why would anybody in their right mind turn that in if it's worth so much money? I'm trying to think, what is the other version of that question? Anyway, there's multiple versions of the way people bring that to my attention, right? One of the other ones is, what teller in their right mind wouldn't pluck that out of their drawer or pluck that out of the roll and buy it for themselves? So those are kind of the questions that I get that are kind of all around, how are we expected to believe that you're actually finding silver in current rolls? So a couple of thoughts there. One, the coins that we're finding in these rolls, this is not silver that was minted in the 60s that's been sitting in these rolls and sitting in a bank vault since 1960 or 1965 or 1970 or what have you. The silver we're finding today is silver that has found its way back into circulation from people dropping it in, either Coinstars or coin machines, credit union or bank coin machines, or quite frankly, just turning them into a teller or in wrapped rolls back to the bank. Those rolls, at a lot of banks, if it's a full box, they'll just tape the box up and send it back to Brinks or Loomis or wherever they send it, where it gets dumped into vats. It's remixed in with more $half-dollars. It's rewrapped, reboxed, and sent back out into the population. So that's how silver gets back into circulation today. So that means that people are literally turning this stuff back into the bank. They're turning proof coins in. They're turning in 90% silver. They're turning in Benjamin Franklin's. And as crazy as that sounds, it actually happens. Now, why would someone do that is a different question. I think there's a lot of people that inherit grandpa's old coin collection, or maybe their dad's coin collection, and they don't know what they have. They just know, I've got this big box of coins. Most of it looks like just junk. I've got this little folder, or I've got this little stack of stuff. I don't know what it is. I don't want to take the time to learn what it is for whatever reason, right? You're down on your luck. You just need the money, what have you. And people will just roll that stuff up and take it to the bank, or they'll take it somewhere that has a coin machine that doesn't spit silver out, right? A lot of the Coinstars today will spit silver back out. So, that's one scenario. The second scenario is that, hey, maybe I had this stuff rolled up, or grandpa had this stuff rolled up, or whoever, and it was sitting in a desk drawer and we're moving, and these rolls were found, and somebody opened the roll and looked at the end and said, it's a 1983, it's just clad, and they take it back to the bank, not realizing that they might have had a bunch of other 40%ers or 90%ers stuffed into the middle of that, roll. So it just gets dropped at the bank. And then option number 3 is, I honestly believe this happens as well. People get robbed, right? And thieves can't, hawk this stuff at local coin shops because they're going to know, right? Coin shop owners are very savvy people. They're going to know there's something shifty about this, right? If you come in looking like you don't have two nickels to rub together, but you're pawning off a $10,000 coin collection, the cops are going to get called. So the easiest way to turn this change into cash is to just take it to the bank, right? So those are some of the ways that silver gets put back into circulation. And I'm going to continue this when we get into the next 10 rolls, but let me see what we have in these. And if we have anything interesting, I'll bring you in. So we've cleaned up those last 10 rolls, no additional NIFCs or anything in there. But while we do the next 10, I wanted to come back to the question about why wouldn't tellers go through these rolls or pluck the silver out of their trays. And I got a couple of answers to that too. One is tellers typically don't have time when customers turn in rolls to go through them. Now, that may not be true in a lot of small towns, right? You know, if they're seeing 20 customers a day, they got all the time in the world, but they probably get yelled at for going through change that customers have turned in. But you may find, I guess, you know, I don't live in a small town. I live in, you know, just outside of Atlanta, so metro Atlanta. Lots and lots of people, lots and lots of banks, lots and lots of volume. So tellers don't have time to go through rolls that are turned in. Half the time when I ask tellers, has anything old or interesting come in? Or do you have any older looking change or older looking rolls? They look at me like I am speaking another language. And these are people that deal with money all day, every day. So tellers are not pulling change out. They're not searching through your rolls. And honestly, if you handed them silver, they probably don't know what it is 9 times out of 10. Really quickly, another NIFC here. We've got a 2015 Denver, it looks like. We'll put that up here on the board. So yeah, I mean, I've actually talked to tellers, and they do. They're like, I couldn't tell you what year was silver. I couldn't tell you what I'm looking for. Yes, I notice when money looks funny, right? So if I ask for old dollar bills, they will hand me bills, I'm not kidding, from like the 90s. Like those are old bills. Sometimes even from the early 2000s before they changed colors, or maybe it was the late 90s before they started changing colors and stuff. Tellers today, for the most part, just don't know. They are paid to move money back and forth across the counter. They are paid to deposit your money for you and get money out. They just don't care. Now, a lot of people may not believe that, but it is true. Now, if you are somebody who's savvy about coins and savvy about precious metals, and you have a spouse or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or an aunt or an uncle who's a teller, and that's not your experience, that's great. And I'm not saying all tellers don't know. I'm just saying the greater majority of them don't know. So if you were to run around to 10 different banks and talk to, you know, the 1 or 2 tellers at the counter, 9 times out of 10, again, they're not going to know what you're talking about. So what else is there? Oh, I covered them opening the rolls, plucking them out of the trays. Again, I've plucked lots of silver out of teller trays. I've plucked Walking Liberty $50 out of teller trays. And literally the teller told me, yeah, that was a funny looking $50, but it said $50 on it, so I took it, right? They didn't think to look up what was it. Was it valuable? Was it made of silver? It didn't even strike them to do that. Last year, I want to say, I got 3 Mercury dimes out of a teller tray. They always seemed shocked when I just asked to see the edges of the coins. Like, how do I know what I'm looking for from just the edge? It's just more and more evidence from my experience to say most tellers just don't know. And I'm not picking on them by any stretch of the imagination. 2015 Denver, so we got 2 of those. What else? Quick story while I get through this last roll. This would be roll number 30. Going back to the how does silver get back into circulation. My wife turned in 2 rolls. She used 2 rolls of solid silver dimes to buy something when we were in our early 20s. Because I left them out on the counter. Because I was going to do something with them and then forgot and left them there for a long time. And she needed the change. So she took them not knowing they were, you know, important. And she spent them. So right now there is $10 worth of dimes. Now, granted, this was 25 years ago, 20 years ago, but my wife put $10 worth of 90% silver dimes back into circulation. And then I can tell you the story. I personally had a stack of 40% silver $50 out once during a hunt, and I was scooping stuff into a bin. And this is back when I had a coin machine I could use. And I ended up scooping too far, and I took those 40% $50, and they went in the bank coin machine, and that coin machine didn't spit out the silver. I actually heard it as it was clanging around inside, and the bank would not let me buy the bag back. So I personally have dumped 40% half dollars into circulation, and who knows, maybe one of my viewers ultimately got them. So anyway, like before, we're going to go through these, and we're going to speed this video up from here. I know it's really long. I just wanted to cover some of these things because I've been talking about them a lot in my comments, so wanted to take time to cover the material. Okay, so nothing in those last 10. We actually have rolls 31 through 50 left, and I'm going to answer one more question while I open these. I'm actually going to open all 20 rolls on camera. It's going to be a complete mess up here on the mat. But I just want to get through these, and once I get done kind of telling you my next little bit, I will fast forward so that you don't have to sit through the opening of all 20 of these rolls in real time. The last question that I wanted to cover is, how do I find rolls that have all of that silver? Now, I get that question mostly on my shorts, especially when they're like customer wrapped rolls or on some of those epic boxes where I've had 7 or 8 or 9 silvers in a single roll. You know, people seem to think I am buying very specifically rolls that are loaded with silver. And I kind of maybe covered this a little bit earlier. That's not the case, right? I hunt, I would say, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of coins over the last few years. At least $50,000 to $75,000 a year in change I go through. It's a volume game. So if you're watching my short and you found my channel and you're watching right now and you found me because of that one roll that you saw me open that had 9 silvers in it, it came in a box just like I'm opening here. I just happened to get very, very lucky. Happened to be in the right place at the right time. I bought the right box in the right place, so on and so forth. The customer wrap roll short that I'm thinking of, it was one of those. I spent 2 hours on a day off driving around to banks that I never go to. Happened to find a Regions bank that I don't even have an account at. Had to sweet talk the bank manager into selling them to me. Got super duper lucky and ended up with tons of silver and a couple of customer wrap rolls. So, you know, when I go out, it's like metal detecting. It's like buying lottery tickets, right? I'm just going out there trying to find rolls. I get those rolls and I open them on camera, or I open them in my videos. Many of them I do on camera. And what I get, you see. So it's not like I have a special place that I go to buy loaded rolls of silver. And if you've been following my channel for the last 4 weeks, I have been silver skunked in my boxes. So, you know, it happens to all of us. For every one great roll, you're going to open, you know, 50, 100, 150, 200, 300, 400 rolls of nothing, right? So anyway, I'm going to be quiet here. We're going to go through these last 10 rolls of the box very, very quickly, and we'll get to a wrap up of box number 1. Okay, here is roll number 50. You've probably seen in fast forward, I've thrown a few more NIFCs on the board. We'll cover those in the wrap up. Let's see here. We got a couple of shinies here in this last roll. It's a 95. It's an 84. And a 2021. All right, let me get this cleaned up and we'll come in for a quick wrap up. So you guys saw me pull most of this stuff, but just wanted to go through it really quickly for you. We had a 2003D, a 2005P, a 2006P, 2014 Philly, 2015 Philly, 3 2015 Denvers, and a 2018 Denver. So I'll check these against my NIFC stash there for the books I'm making. Anything that's really nice we'll keep. Everything else will go back. And the second box we'll go through more quickly. I'm just going to go through that like my normal hunt. So it may be we're going to skip right to the end because we don't find anything, or we may hopefully find some stuff along the way. Well, unfortunately, as I feared, the second box also came up short on silver. Now, we did find a handful of NIFCs. We had one 2004 Denver and a couple 3 2004 Phillies. At least I think we had a Denver in there. Yeah, we did. And we came across a 2007 Denver. And this is a fairly typical box I have. So if you're new to coin roll hunting and you're all excited and you want to get out there and get your box, what you saw in this video, and honestly what you've seen in my last 4 or 5 half-dollar videos, are very, very realistic depictions of coin roll hunting. They don't all have silver. Many boxes only have 1 silver. And then every now and then you'll get lucky and get that multi-box silver. So last week we got lucky, customer rolls produced, but our bank wraps still failed us. So this is either boxes 9 or 10, or maybe even it's 11 and 12 going on here, a silver skunk streak from Brinks. So I'm hoping we get back on the silver, because most of this year we've done really, really well with silver in our boxes. But this last month or so, it's been really, really slow. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one. I know we did the first box a little bit different. I had a couple of questions I wanted to spend some time on, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you did, let me know. Drop on down below, click that like button, and leave me a comment. If you're new to the channel and you want to catch all my coin roll hunts, make sure you click on that subscribe button, and then click on that little bell and select all so you get notified each and every time I do release a new video. Special shout out to all my channel members. Thank you for your support each and every month. Really, really appreciate it. If you don't know what's involved in my memberships, make sure you drop down below. There is a join button. When you click on that, it will tell you all about the membership tiers that I have and what you get with each tier. And it's free to click on the button. You don't have to do anything until you actually select what you're interested in. With that, Christmas is upon us. I've only got a couple more days left to make videos, and then I will probably be radio silent until December 30th with our big multi-channel giveaway finalist video. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I will have a card at the end of this video linking to my individual giveaway that's leading into the giant multi-channel giveaway. So make sure you check that out if you haven't already. So with that, you guys take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.